Just last week, I told you about a conservative plan to pass a short-term budget that only funds the government for a few months. The House, after our urging and that of other patriotic Americans, agreed to limit the House spending bill to 3 months. This would deny Barack Obama his last spending spree and allow the incoming Donald Trump administration to set spending priorities for virtually all of 2017. Tens of thousands of personalized letters were sent by our followers. Also, thousands of phone calls were made to congressional offices. And guess what? We won. America won. That's because you took action. The House caved in to that grassroots pressure and agreed to pass a short-term bill that funds the government only through March. This was a huge turnaround from the typical congressional surrender to Obama that we have seen over the past 8 years. And remember, Barack Obama's 2017 budget request was a staggering $4 trillion. $4 trillion, if you can believe it. Just take a look at the stack of boxes these ladies are wheeling down the hallway in Congress. That's what a $4 trillion budget looks like. If you thought last year's $1.1 trillion continuing resolution was a monster, Obama quadrupled his request for next year. And just listen to what Obama says he included in this mammoth 2017 budget ripoff of American taxpayers.
It drives down the deficit. It includes smart savings on health care, immigration, tax reform. My budget also invests in opportunity and security for all Americans through education and training, new ideas for retirement savings and unemployment insurance, and it invests in innovation, harnessing technology to tackle challenges like climate change through clean energy.
So, that's how you come up with a $4 trillion budget. Unemployment insurance for all the Americans you've driven out of work with your unlimited illegal immigration, and a big fat check to the United Nations to give the climate liars taxpayer money to continue lying through their teeth and earning $500,000 each every year in salary. Everything Obama said in that statement was a lie. As usual indeed. His lips are moving, he's lying. For example, smart savings on healthcare. Wow! How's that working out for you, America, these past few years? Savings on healthcare. What a joke. The House has said no and agreed to chop Obama off at the knees with a stopgap budget. But in spite of that victory, the Senate Republicans are ready to sell us out again. When will these people learn? Obama has increased the national debt by 1/4. That's $14 trillion over the last 8 years because the majority Republicans have been too cowardly to use the power of the purse to stop him. As I noted numerous times, it is possible that Mitch McConnell has been around D.C. for so many years that only Lord knows what men's room the Democrats caught him in and have been holding over his head all these years. Maybe possible. How can you explain it otherwise? How can you explain a rational person backing a $4 trillion budget with a $2 trillion deficit in it? To me, other than being blackmailed for such conduct, there's no other explanation for McConnell selling out America year after year. So we've convinced the House Republicans, we being the United States of America, the citizens and the voters, to finally start acting like an opposition party to the Democrats. But the Senate is refusing to listen to the people who put them in power. We plan to do the same thing to the Senate that we did to the House, but we can only succeed with your help. I'll explain how you can help with this effort, and I'll tell you how you can put the brakes on Obama's runaway spending in just a few minutes. Coming up, stay tuned.
It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
A lot of the problems that Barack Obama has caused for America could have been nipped in the bud if the Republicans in Congress, especially in the Senate, had listened to the people beginning in 2008. We almost succeeded in defunding Obamacare 3 years ago until Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell walked off into a secret room with Obama and then walked out with one of his big compromise omnibus budgets, probably jammed down his throat by Obama. This has been happening for 8 years. Every year, Obama submits his budget request to Congress. The Republicans tell the camera it's too expensive and unworkable. But then Mitch McConnell jumps out of the closet at the last second with a budget no one has ever seen before and gives Obama everything he wants. The pattern repeats itself every year. And now Mitch McConnell wants to do it again, despite the fact that Donald Trump is coming in to help make America great again. The executive branch spies on all email and phone communications of every single American, including the House and the Senate. So, as well, it really makes you wonder what kind of dirt Obama has on Mitch McConnell from that venue. So, he's got his shenanigans around Washington, D.C. for almost decades, and now he knows everything that the guy thinks. Whatever it must be something truly shameful or even career-destroying for McConnell to consistently sell out every conservative principle he claims to support. And McConnell's not the only one selling out America. He's not the only one selling us down the river to Obama. Senator Roy Blunt, Republican from Missouri, said last week, and I quote, "My preference is to pass the 2017 budget now and not get bogged down next year." And I end that quote. He's forgetting, of course, that $2 trillion deficit will be hanging around the necks of our grandkids. So he only has to worry about it for a year. Our country has to worry about it for decades. Maybe if the senators had done their job in 2016, we wouldn't even be talking about the 2017 budget. The Senate has only one job, which is to pass a budget. So what was the Senate bogged down with from January through October of this year? It wasn't the budget, because that wasn't even written yet. Senator Lamar Alexander, a Republican from Tennessee, says, and I quote, "I would think the last thing the Trump administration would want to do is spend time cleaning up an appropriations bill that was supposed to have been passed in the previous year under Obama." And I end quote. Well, that's what got Donald Trump elected. Of course he wants to do that. He wants to revise this spending. He wants us not to go bankrupt. Well, I got news for Senator Alexander. Donald Trump is on board with this plan too. We called for a short-term spending bill on Tuesday of last week, and by Thursday, the House announced that it had agreed to do so. Later in the day on Thursday, Donald Trump, he said he liked the plan, and he wants full Congress to get on board. Just fund the government through March, he said, and then he and his team will start steering the ship. So to Senator Alexander and the other quislings who want to surrender again and grant Barack Obama one last $4 trillion spending spree to increase Obamacare funding, increase the number of unvetted Syrian refugees, and run up the national debt another $2 or $3 trillion, we've got one word for them. That word is no. No, no. Well, that's 4 words, but I still say it. The word is no. We the people don't want it. And Donald Trump doesn't want it. We want the swamp drained. The Senate needs to hear from American patriots like you and me right now with this message. Pass a short-term spending bill and let Trump take over in March. Don't grant Obama another bloated budget request for all of 2017. America's hurting right now, and we want relief from the Obama administration as soon as possible. We've got millions of people out of work on welfare and wandering around the streets, and yet the Obama administration is spending hundreds of millions of dollars on bringing in unvetted welfare recipients called Syrian refugees, sending money all around the world to countries that actually hate us. We want the money spent here in America. Put our hungry people on a full table. Put our homeless people in housing. This is what we want. We don't want the money being spent according to Obama's wishes to be better for the Muslim world. We want it better for the American world. So you can send personalized letters to the Senate to make your demands known today. Just go to our action page and follow the instructions there. It's really simple. If you want to use the letter that I prepared for you, fine, do it. If you want to write your own wording, just click on the little tab that says Edit that will give you a copy of the text that I wrote, which you can change in any way you wish. Then just put your information in and send it. If you need to know how to get to our action page, stay tuned, because Bob Mallory will have complete instructions on the next screen. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many blessings.
Tell the Senate to deny Barack Obama's $4 trillion budget blowout and instead pass a short-term bill that funds the government through March. If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find a link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.